Every day, more and more road users are filming their journeys, which can often end in disaster. Pioneered by motorists in Russia and Eastern Europe, dashboard-mounted cameras are constantly recording our behavior on the roads. From the bizarre, to the ridiculous, the funny, to the downright dangerous. The thousands and thousands of dashcams around the world have captured just about every mishap you can think of. Now we're going to delve into this treasure trove of stupidity on the roads. Put things right by pointing the finger of blame. Replay the action to see what really happened. And of course, there's nothing like seeing other people's mistakes when it comes to helping us become better drivers. And please remember, on all the clips, yes, that's all the clips we show, no one, and that means no one, is seriously hurt. So drive safely. Not everyone is this lucky. Still to come on Car Crash TV, yet more absolutely abysmal road use from all around the planet Earth that, had it just occurred in the UK, would have resulted in the following serious infringements of these rules laid out in our beloved Highway Code. Article 119, if skidding occurs, remove the cause by releasing the brake pedal fully or easing off the accelerator. Article 148, safe driving and riding needs concentration. Avoid distractions when driving or riding, such as arguing with your passengers or other road users. The one about giving way being a rule rather than a suggestion. And from Trailer Trash, my in-depth guide to truck spotting, Chapter 124, the bigger they are, the harder they fall. The roads are littered with a variety of different motorists, all with different levels of driving expertise. Some are dangerous and essentially a menace to society. They can often be found behind the wheel of a Lada. Some are obnoxious and think the road belongs to them. More often than not, you can find them behind the wheel of an Audi. And there is one breed of motorist whose expertise is such that they've turned the simple act of overtaking into an art form. I only have one rule when it comes to overtaking. Once you've completed your maneuver, make sure you promptly put your vehicle back in the inside lane. Though I'm less annoyed by this, and more baffled as to what he would have been overtaking in the first place. Oh, this guy's just the worst. This isn't overtaking, it's barging, plain and simple. And if I'm not mistaken, that's a Mercedes he's driving. How predictable. Then right on cue, out he gets to blame the other driver. But there is a delicious sting to this tale. It's called the handbrake. And if that little lesson didn't convince you that the barging method doesn't work, then try this for size. Though with 8 different claims to pay, at least you've stuck it to your insurance company. Hope you protected that no claims bonus, like he has one. Oh look, this chap has kindly sped up his footage for us. And cue the Benny Hill sound-alike music. Would have been funnier if we could have used the actual Benny Hill music, but we aren't made of money. And to end on, how important is your journey? Is it so important that it's worth overtaking several massive lorries on a snow-covered road at night? This guy seems to think so. Wait, no. The shake of the head tells me he's changed his mind. I wonder if that terrifying near miss had anything to do with that. The whimpering I can hear suggests it did. Just as our dashcam footage is sourced from every corner of the world, we try and make a real effort to tailor the different parts of the show to a whole list of places on the planet. Not so much because we value all of humanity equally, but because the real money can be made from selling the show overseas, particularly in areas where the population may not be aware that we're ridiculing them. So let's head back down to the deep south for another off-road rodeo. Howdy all, and here we are at the first ever off-road rodeo. You might be reckoning this is not our first off-road rodeo because you've seen one before, but the numbers were getting so damned high, they were giving us all a headache, so we're starting from the bottom. To kick it all off, we have Butch Jackson, who always impresses if the creek don't rise. And it ain't rising today. There's a granny slapping 23 seconds from Butch on the track to Tallahassee here. A spin to boot and no snake in sight. Now we're in pursuit of the rodeo's dark horse, Doc's Peepin' Time. There he is. Look at that, an elegance rarely seen at the rodeo. Dancing around the truck there. But it's not enough to gallop to a win. Well and truly hung in just 17 seconds. Warren slap out. We're on board with a new young upstart, Rough Finley the Feather Ruffler. Looks like the only feathers he'll be ruffling tonight is back at the ranch when he's skinning his supper. Now we find ourselves behind the Silver Streak, named after her celebration display, which always manages to get her dragged off by someone. Usually a race between a disgruntled security guard and one of them paparazzi after an image to flog to the Financial Times. As for this race, that was a moderate 13 seconds there. Unlucky for some, but not for those like me who have tickets to her commiseration performance. On board now with Dwayne Pigpusher, but the hound dogs in this wagon have their money on Butch Jackson and a hankering to win it back. Good Lord. Sorry, Floyd. You can shoot off over yonder till the cows come home. 7 seconds, Bubba. We're on board with our final challenger who thinks they got what it takes to stick it to Butch Jackson's 23-second lead. Bobby Sue Houston is flying past the cattle here, determined to bag up a win. But she's barking up the wrong tree, skidding into 17 seconds. Second place means nothing in this county. She's gonna be madder than a wet hen. And this makes old Butch Jackson undefeated and winner of our first ever off-road rodeo since the last one. A hill full of beans on the way to you, cowboy. Don't spend them all at once, because last time you did that, you were in rodeo rehab for 3 months. And Bobby Sue was left holding your horses. That ain't no fun for anyone, except the horses. Yee-haw! The keen-eyed amongst you may have noticed that a lot of the clips we show hail from Russia and Eastern Europe. They love a dashcam over there. Well, the insurance companies do. And as a result, a lot of the clips we show feature a moderate to heavy sprinkling of the white stuff. So while you sit in your comfy armchair laughing at their expense, spare a thought for those poor folks, as I'm sure it's cold outside. Looks pretty chilly out there, doesn't it? However, the roads are clear, so the gritters have been out in force. That's what I like to see. Some robust health and safety processes in place to help keep everyone safe. Ah, looks like they missed a bit. Well, you're only human. Don't worry, self-driving gritters will be along soon enough, and then we can blame technology. Interesting angle to position your dashcam at. Do you know something we don't know? Ooh, that's spooky. Are you one of those clairvoyants? Tell me, this clip-based nightmare that I find myself trapped in, when will it end? When the snow lays heavy on the ground, you need to decide whether or not your journey is essential before getting behind the wheel of your vehicle. A trip to the supermarket to stock up on fags and booze very much falls into the non-essential category. Little FYI for you there. In this part of the world, rather than trying to remove the ice from the roads, they've embraced it. I give you synchronized car skating. I'm sure the Winter Olympics Committee are picking up the phone right now to book it for the next games. It's got to be more interesting than curling. To all those people who say this show is dull and repetitive, get ready to eat your words. We forked out for a CCTV clip to keep things fresh. Check us out. Of course, the content within this clip is largely the same. Truck, rear ends, lorry, yada yada yada. But CCTV, that's practically revolutionary. Of course, we aren't made of money, so one clip is all you get, I'm afraid. Speaking of saving money, why not try and remove the snow from your car by randomly veering into passing fellow motorists? Nope, snow's still there. Oh well, it was worth a try. Earlier, I praised the work of some local gritters, but in this town they seem to prefer the snowplow method. Personally, I'm not sure it's effective, and it also provides motorists with patches on which to produce vehicular snow angels. See? Now the snowplow is going to have to come out again to pull this idiot out of the drift. You're only hurting yourself. Gritters all the way. Meanwhile, in Greendale, the budget's so tight they can't afford either solution. But that's not going to stop Postman Pat delivering Reverend Tim's his special package from Russia. Mrs. Goggins, however, might prove a bigger obstacle. Let it go, Goggins. The Reverend's not interested, and the air holes in this package aren't very big. This wasn't how it was meant to be, you know. I had a dream to dress exclusively in sequin-encrusted shirts and trousers that left little or nothing to the imagination. I wasn't supposed to spend my days sitting in front of a microphone. I was supposed to spend them dancing in front of a crowd. Sadly, I had absolutely no talent whatsoever for busting moves, but had plenty for busting bad drivers. So, to stop me from crying myself to sleep every night, the producers have kindly mashed together my dream and my nightmare. It's strictly car crashing. Lovely atmosphere on the dance floor as we kick things off with a tango. Remember, we're looking for those sharp staccato moves. That's a sharp turn where you've clipped the judges' table and Craig spilt his pina colada. Still worthy of a 7.
Another dramatic setting, and this time for a paso doble. How wonderful. And here comes the performer, resplendent in red, very fitting. But I'm afraid this routine has peaked with your attire, my darling. That turn has seen you drift well out of bounds. It's only a 2.
Well, darling, let's hope this samba has something to lift my spirits. So far, so what, I'm afraid, with this routine. Oh, finally, darling, the hips have woken up, sort of, and now they've gone back to sleep again. Sebastian, I'm going to need a fresh pina colada. In fact, better make it 2. A generous 3.
A quick step now, and our performer is certainly bringing the required pace to the dance. In fact, it's so quick, our camera is having trouble keeping up. We need a big finish, though, in order to justify a big score. So, has he got one? And he has, bravo! That's an absolutely belting finish. It's a 9.
Ah, the waltz, a real dance of love. And our couple are going slightly against the rulebook by starting out of hold. A risky strategy, but I'm open to a bit of improvisation. However, you need to get in your hold soon. Oh, my darlings, you missed. How disappointing. You can bend the rules, but you cannot break them, I'm afraid. I can only give you 4.
We're ending tonight with a jive, and if it doesn't do something for me, you'll be wearing this drink. Okay, good start, darling. In fact, very good. You're weaving through the dance floor rather well. I'm on my feet. This is exhilarating. Who are you, my darling? The footwork is frankly sensational. And do you have the big finish? Oh, you do, darling. This might be the rum talking, but you can have a 10.
Well, that's quite enough ballroom for this week, I think, as the drinks cabinet is running low. But join us again soon for more head-spinning shenanigans in Strictly Car Crashing. Coming up next on Car Crash TV, we step out from behind the wheel for The Perils of the Pedestrian. Make the 50-50 choice, that is, hit or miss. And brace ourselves for more Carmageddon in Watch Out, There's a Lada About. But first, dusk, the witching hour, and something major is about to go down on this city street. But can you guess what happens next? It'll knock your socks off. Welcome back to Car Crash TV. So what did happen next? Well, we have some more footage of the incredible car smashini working to improve his act even further. This bit is called the car catch. Ooh, he's missed. That biker was supposed to go into the door, not under it. More practice required, I think. But it's nice to see him trying new things. Popular rock and roll act Dire Straits once condoned doing the walk of life. This, however, was in the mid-80s, before Car Crash TV was even a glint in my eye. Were they extolling the virtues of such pursuits today, I would say no, Mark Knopfler. Take your Sultans of Swing, your headband, and do one. Your tuneful arrangement is only going to lead to more Perils of the Pedestrian. A few questions are generated by this clip. First, where was he going? That drop looks a bit too high for a human to make without dying. Second, who wears their cap backwards these days? It wasn't cool in the 90s, and it isn't cool now. Third, why is he acting so casually? Like nothing just happened. We saw the whole thing, mate. Can't you see the dash cam? 3 questions, and I can't answer any of them. So we best move on. Great. Another question. Who would win in a fight between a cyclist and a pedestrian? Well, they're both on their feet, but seeing as the pedestrian is running away from the scene, I'm giving it to him. Congratulations. Hope it was worth the bruising. It's annoying, isn't it, when people actually stop at pedestrian crossings to allow pedestrians to actually cross? Yes, you've saved me from 10 to 15 years hard time, but I've just lost my no claims bonus. Thanks a lot. You might think this chap is drunk, but that's not the case. He is in fact the notorious Hamburglar, out of costume and high on a heady mix of ground beef, cheese and bread. Wait till you get home before you feast on your ill-gotten gains, my friend. Ronald's in hot pursuit, and considering your condition, it won't take him long to catch up. We're back in North Korea now, where they're filming a government-sanctioned remake of Lord of the Rings. This chap's taken on the plum role of Gandalf, and this is the big "you shall not pass" moment. Yes, it lacks the gravitas of Sir Ian McKellen's iconic performance, but it seems to have worked. Meanwhile, in Russia, as so many people have refused to pay their road tax, they can't afford to replenish the paint on the zebra crossings. But maybe if you spun that sign around to face the oncoming traffic, it would be less of an issue. Speaking of Sir Ian McKellen, another character he's portrayed is nefarious mutant and antagonist to the X-Men, Magneto, who has the ability to manipulate metal. Obviously, though, the character is a work of fiction, and you'd never see a real person using metal manipulation powers to gain revenge on vehicles that almost ran them over. That's the type of thing you only see in the movies. And finally, as a regular viewer to this show, do you find yourself wondering why the police don't do something about all those drivers that ignore pedestrian crossings? The answer is simple. They just don't give a... Decisions, decisions, decisions. We face numerous ones every day, and the toughest are those that have only two options. The 50-50 decisions, if you will. You've only got one chance to get it right. And get it wrong, the repercussions could be long-lasting for you, your agent, your accountant, and your self-esteem. But enough about that time I passed on something called the Great British Bake Off, and on with the show. Time for you to make some difficult decisions. It's hit or miss. And to kick us off, we have a dark night, a desolate stretch of road, and two sets of headlights where there should only be one. Crumbs, this is intense, but how will our driver react? Will he hit the set of lights on the left, which just happened to belong to a massive truck? The set of lights on the right, belonging to the moron that's overtaking said truck? Swerve and take one right in the bollards, or defy the odds and miss completely? And he misses and barely reacts. Are you a human or a robot? Ah, look, the sign of premonition telling us not to turn left. I wonder why. Of course, because that's the direction in which this moron is coming from, and he hasn't mastered the highway code basic, that is, staying on the road. So will we hit the world's worst learner driver, or miss completely? And it's a miss for us, but a hit for him, as he takes out a signpost, satisfying on so many levels. Never underestimate the lure of the Volvo garage. I know historically they're considered to be dull, but some of the latest models are actually quite eye-catching. Look at this guy, in such a rush to trade in his hearse that he's forgotten the basics, like looking right. So will we hit the hearse, which surely has to be the ultimate in blasphemy, swerve and hit the chap on the right, or thread the needle between these two automobiles and miss? And it's a miss! And it looks like you'll have to buy French rather than Swedish. Never mind. And to end, if you're in this lane, surely you're too far away from that slip road to try and make the exit. Apparently not. So will our friend plow into that truck, into that crash barrier, or somehow defy science, God, and basic common sense to miss completely? And it's a hit! Proving both science and religion to be right. There's a first. Well, that's enough tricky decisions for today, my friends. But join us again soon to answer the question, hit or miss? Warning! Those of a nervous disposition, please look away now. Perhaps go and make a cup of tea or sit in a dark room for the next couple of minutes and repeat, there's no place like home. There's no place like home. Yes, that time is upon us again, as out there in the wider world, the Ladas are multiplying exponentially, and it is our duty to report the latest sighting. This is a CCTV News special report with Chad Dexter. Batten down the hatches, people, and for Christ's sake, watch out! There's a Lada about. Our first report today comes from the picturesque French winemaking region of Languedoc. Here, motorists should be safe to drive from vineyard to vineyard, but the Lada is a canny operator and has smelt their weakness for wine. The nightmare in beige senses the wino moving to overtake and strikes with devastating precision. His head will be throbbing more than usual in the morning. Munich now, and shocking evidence to help back up the theory that the Ladas have now become so powerful they can even control the weather. There's the Lada at the side of the road, looking for its next victim, and having spotted the man getting into the blue car, it uses all its strength to up the wind speed to 90 miles per hour. Fortunately, the poor innocent citizen was able to clear the falling debris just in time. But the next member of the public may not be so lucky. A good news story now from the streets of London, England. Normally, a posh man in a Bentley gets others to do his dirty work. But the battle against the Lada menace has shattered the class divide and united a nation. This simple act of retaliation is bringing a tear to this reporter's eye. Meanwhile, in Bangkok, the little beasts have started to fight dirty. Not content with targeting fellow road users, they're now going after parked cars too. 3 cars attacked in one move. Oh, the humanity. They were just trying to stay out of trouble. Shocking scenes in Russia, where the spread of the vehicles has reached epidemic levels. The public, now unable to fight back against such vast numbers, have been forced into servitude. The Lada won't thank him for this. He'll just let him live. And finally, across the border in Poland, the locals are faring slightly better and have not yet yielded to this miniature menace. But if attacks like these continue to take place, it's only a matter of time before we lose the Poles too, and then the rest of Europe could well fall. All hope is not yet lost, but we are on the brink, people. Be vigilant, stay safe, and never forget the golden rule. Watch out, there's a Lada about. Chad Dexter signing off.